Look, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. Actually, screw that. Yes, I do. Remember the hype when we thought Intel was gonna swoop in like Superman, smack Nvidia across the face, and finally give AMD a real rival with their GPU's price to performance?
Our battle will be legendary.
Yeah, about that, it's not happening. And if you look at the actual numbers and the massive looming disaster hitting straight for the entire tech industry right now, it's starting to look like Intel's little GPU experiment might be on its deathbed before it really got to walk. Yeah, we need to talk about why the battle mage might be dead on arrival and why it's entirely not their fault. Alright, welcome back. If you're new here, I talk about tech and all that, so if you want to see more contents like this, then make sure to hit that like and subscribe to the channel. It's free and it helps out a ton. First, we need to rip off the band-aid regarding Intel Arc right now. I know some of you are diehard fans of the underdogs like Intel's GPUs or AMD because we want other choices for GPU that's not called Nvidia. But we have to look at the cold hard reality of their current situation. We don't need a 10-minute history lesson on Larabi or whatever failed projects they had 20 years ago. We need to look at today, so yeah, let's get straight to the point. According to the latest results from Jan Petty Research, Intel's market share in the discrete add-in board market is basically a rounding error. It's negligible. We're talking about low single digits, and half the time, it seems like those numbers are just mostly OEMs shoving low-end art cards into pre-builds that nobody really wants. There's not a lot of units from gamers. You know it, I know it. When was the last time you saw someone proudly post a new build picture on Reddit or Twitter? I mean X. Why the f is it called X? I hate calling it that. It sounds like... And the trajectory isn't pointing up, it's flatlining. There are constant news and rumors swirling around, and you know where there's smoke, there's usually a dumpster fire. Like the high possibility of Intel already looking to cut costs, trim down the graphics division, and maybe even bail on the discrete gaming GPUs entirely if the next generation doesn't perform miracles. And this sucks. It genuinely sucks. Despite how rough the launch was, and holy shit, those early drivers were a crime against humanity. Intel actually brought something to the table that was desperately needed. Something Nvidia's been actively hoarding like a dragon sitting on a gold.
Do you like my jacket?
Which is VRAM. While Nvidia was out there trying to convince us that 8 gigs of VRAM on a 400 RTX 4060 was totally fine. Spoiler alert, it wasn't, and it isn't. Intel slapped a massive 16 gig buffer on the Arc A770. And they sold it for like, what, $350, sometimes $300 on sale? And that was their killer feature. That was their whole identity. Yeah, our driver's a bit janky, and yeah, older DX9 games runs like a GT 1030, but hey, look at all these VRAMs. For budget gamers who just wanted to play Last of Us or Hogwarts Legacy without textures looking like blurry vomit smeared on a wall in 4K, Intel was practically the option that's begging to be picked. They understood that if you can't beat Nvidia in raw rasterization power or ray tracing magic, you beat them on value, just like how AMD does it. You give people more FPS per dollar. On Intel's case, VRAM per dollar. That was their strategy for Battle Mage. The plan was obvious. Fix the architecture, polish the drivers, which they have been doing, credit where it's due. The drivers are way better now than back then, and they keep offering massive VRAM buffers to undercut Nvidia's VRAM greed. It was a solid plan. It was a plan that would absolutely work. But just when Intel was about to keep going, the industry decided to throw that entire plan into a pile of shit and burn it. How so? Well, because we're currently barreling headfirst into a massive global DRAM shortage. And if you're living under a rock or haven't been paying attention to the supply chain news, here's a TLDR. It's because of AI. It's always AI these days. The high demands for HBM, high bandwidth memory, the stuff used in those insanely expensive NVIDIA AI data center chips is exploding. It's absolutely insane right now. Every company on earth is trying to buy as much HBM as they can to power their ChatGPT clones. Why does that matter to you? A gamer trying to buy a normal graphics card? Because companies that makes memory, yeah, they don't really have enough factories and silicon wafers to feed both the AI data centers and the consumers. And right now, HBM is vastly more profitable than making a standard GDDR6 memories for gaming GPUs. So some manufacturers are focusing on that, yada yada yada, you get it. So this is where it falls apart for Intel. This is the disaster scenario. Remember what I said Intel's strategy was being the value king, offering tons of VRAM per dollar. How the hell are they supposed to do that when the cost of the memory chips itself just skyrocketed? If memory prices jump 50% or even as high as 70%, Intel has two choices with Battlemage and both of them are terrible. Choice A, they eat the cost. They sell the cards at an even bigger loss just to try gain market share. But remember, Intel is already broke right now. Most of their shareholders are revolting because of, the CPU shenanigans. And I don't think they have the stomach to subsidize hungry PC builders looking to upgrade their GPU. Or choice B, they pass the cost on us. Suddenly, that mid-range Battlemage that was supposed to be $300 is now a $450 card. And if Battlemage launches at $450 and it only performs slightly better than a discounted AMD card that's already has stable drivers, nobody's going to buy it. It's almost like it's just f***ing stupid to do so. Nvidia can weather the storm not only because they have insane margins, but it's also because they are literally the biggest player in the AI bubble. And AMD has some connections too, but Intel? Intel needed the perfect conditions to pull this off. They needed a smooth runaway. Instead, the shortage just practically stripped them naked and f***ed them in the ass. Not really a good example, but hey, look, I take no pleasure in saying this. I don't want a duopoly. I don't want to choose between leather jacket man's overpriced luxury rocks or whatever AMD is doing this week. We need a third player. We need competition to have competitive pricing. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Intel has some secret stockpile of memory chips sitting in a bunker somewhere. And I hope Battlemage is so good that it defies the economics of the situation. But if the main selling point of your product is to sell cheap and have big memory, and suddenly memory isn't cheap anymore, so you just lose your one advantage. So yeah, that's not really good. Well, for Intel, probably. Anyway, so yeah, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and if you think I'm being too pessimistic, then let me know in the comments and tell me why I might be wrong. I'd love to hear it. And also, like the video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want more of this. That's all, bros. See ya.